You know burnout's bad when your leadership meeting starts with someone saying, "I'm fine," in the exact tone of voice someone uses when they're about to sell everything they own and open a goat spa retreat center in the mountains. Listen, if your staff are snapping, your supervisors are spiraling, and you find yourself Googling things like, "Can humans survive on iced coffee and spite?" then this episode is for you. Hello, Difference Maker, and welcome to IDD Leader, the podcast that's all about helping human service organizations retain and grow their workforce using behavioral science. I am your host, Nate Beers. Let's dive in. Today, we're talking about how to prevent burnout before it shows up on your team, in your leadership, and yes, even in you. Because once burnout is obvious, it's already costing you. I'm going to share 3 anti-burnout habits that you can start this week. And honestly, number 3 is surprisingly controversial because it goes against the way many providers function. And yet, it's incredibly effective. I wonder what you'll think of it. And I also am curious if you've tried it before. Oh, and I'm testing out a new format for the episode. Let me know what you think in the YouTube comments or the contact page on the website. Cringe Corner. We called it resilience, but it was just suppression. There's this moment that I think about. A team leader I was overseeing was checking in, and she looked stressed, even frantic. I asked her how she was doing, and she said, "I'm good. It's been really crazy, but I love it. I wouldn't have it any other way." She laughed a little too loudly, took a sip from her caffeinated drink, and then jogged off like a squirrel in traffic. The truth is, she was not good. But instead of stopping her and making a real plan to lighten her load to help her with her time management or with taking some responsibilities off her plate, instead, we applauded her. Because we confuse high tolerance for dysfunction with, quote, resilience. And here's the cringe. We reward people for suffering silently, but then we're shocked when they crash loudly. And yes, she did end up crashing loudly. Behavior science breakdown. Burnout is predictable, and that means it's preventable. The good news is burnout's not a mystery illness. It's the cumulative effect of too many demands, not enough control, and too little reinforcement. According to behavioral science, burnout happens when high-effort behavior is paired with low reinforcement repeatedly over time. Let me break that down a little bit more. High-effort behavior. This could look like things such as handling crises, covering a bunch of extra shifts, or just texting and being on the phone for 2 hours trying to cover a shift that's about to start. Another high-effort behavior could be onboarding staff, things along these lines. And when that's paired with low reinforcement, that means things like not getting enough thanks or appreciation, not getting enough support, no visible progress, and this is repeated over time, then that's really what starts to shape up burnout. I recently have been working on a garden in my yard with the whole family. It's a family project. But I've done some post-hole digging with a post-hole digger shovel. Yeah, that's a real joyous event or occasion. If you've ever done it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's a lot of work, especially when you're trying to get your posts nice and deep. And so often in human services, we hand someone the shovel, we say, "Here, you got to dig here." Okay, high-effort behaviors are happening. But then instead of making the row of posts and then being done and being able to enjoy putting up a fence, enjoying a garden, it's like after that row gets done, then they turn the corner and there's just another row and another row and another row. And it can really seem kind of endless. There still might be some thank you or appreciation along the way, but these high effort behaviors are not getting the level of reinforcement or reward that would be needed to sustain it or to have it feel life-giving or something that the person wants to keep repeating. The other thing is often you can add in a sense of low control that, quote, like, no matter what I do, nothing changes. And then boom, Burnout is pretty much just a bad feedback loop with a name tag. The other thing that happens, and this is sometimes the worst part, is that most people don't quit on the day that they burn out. They quit 6 months later, after they've been quietly disengaging, ghosting initiatives, and writing things like "be less available" in their New Year's resolutions. So there's usually this wake of poorly done work for an extended period of time before they actually quit. And then there's a big mess to clean up, plus the cost on the person themselves, not to mention the individuals that we serve. So that's pretty much the breakdown of what's happening from a behavioral science perspective. Scripted. What not to say and what to say instead. So here's what you don't want to be saying. We just need to push through. Everyone's tired. This is the job. When you say things like that, congratulations. You've pretty much just handed them the emotional equivalent of the shovel and you've asked them to keep digging. Another script you do not want to hear yourself saying. It's amazing how much you've handled lately. Thanks for covering so much for us. Wait, hold on. This one's a little tricky because on face value, giving praise is a good thing. And thanking someone, yeah, that's a good thing. But if that person that you're thanking is making up the difference that should fall on other people, then something needs to change so that they don't get burned out or resentful of the people who are letting the things fall to them. So on that kind of thing, be careful. If it's just some thanks, but there's no fundamental change and someone's overgiving, then watch out. You'll probably hear yourself saying things like that, but it's time to actually spring into action. Here's a better script. I can see how hard you're working. Let's look at what we can take off your plate this week. I want you to be in this for the long game. Not long ago, I was recently telling someone, this is not a sprint, it's a marathon. Let's pace ourselves, which is along the same lines. Here's another script you could use. You've been going full speed. I don't want you to burn out. Sorry, let me try that again. You've been going full speed. I don't want for you to burn out to take it seriously. What can we adjust in your schedule so that you're not picking up what everyone else is dropping? Again, you're connecting that you see what's happening with actions to start to bring about a solution to that. And if you're talking to fellow leaders, the script might even sound like this. If the people keeping this place afloat are not okay, then this place is not okay. Let's walk the talk and protect each other's capacity, not just the team's. Oh man, how many times have we seen that, right? Where the leaders are trying hard to protect the team members from getting burned out, but in the process, they're burning themselves out. So this applies at every level of your organization. Action moves. For this episode, we're looking at 3 anti-burnout habits. Habit number 1, set a reverse coverage rule. Instead of only covering for staff call-offs, commit to covering so supervisors can unplug once a week. Even if it's just for a few hours, you want to model it and normalize it. So you're not just covering for open shifts, but you're making sure that there's on-call coverage for supervisors to have the chance to unwind, even for things that they might normally handle. All of your supervisors and leaders need clear breaks so that the workload is spread throughout the whole team. So consider setting a reverse coverage rule. Habit number 2, run a weekly deload huddle. You can ask, what feels heavy right now that doesn't have to be on your plate? Then you're helping people trade with each other or ditch low priority tasks. Sometimes what's heavy to one person is not that heavy to someone else, and so just sharing the responsibilities between them can make a huge difference and really lift the load off someone's shoulders. And other times, there's just such a mixture between high priority tasks and low priority tasks that people just need permission that says, it's okay, don't get to that this week. You've got enough on your plate. Handle that in another week or 2. And what it does is it kind of creates a burnout pressure release valve. All right, here's habit number 3, which I mentioned earlier. This is to reinforce non-crisis behaviors. So often, burnout culture only praises firefighting. So to do this habit, you start giving attention to calm planning, solid delegation, and boundary setting. That's right, praising people for setting boundaries. If you treat it like it matters, because it really does matter, people will start to get the message. I would encourage you to have specific rewards and recognition for leaders who have fewer fires to begin with because they're doing this calm planning, good delegation, setting boundaries. Or you could even reward people who simply get their stuff done on time and without drama. Again, the key here is that when there's a burnout culture, a lot of times all that's getting praised is covering for crises. And although that definitely deserves some recognition, you've got to start to shift things by praising, recognizing, and rewarding non-crisis behaviors, especially from leaders. Bringing it all together. Burnout doesn't always look like someone crying in the break room. Sometimes it looks like disinterest, slower responses, quieter meetings. And when it spreads across your leadership team, it's only a matter of time before the front line follows. Let's stop it before it starts. If I were to pick one action item for you to implement right away, it would be to host the deload huddle. You give your team a quick meetup where people can share what's the heaviest and swap responsibilities, and they're really given permission to ditch the low priority tasks for the time being. That way they don't feel like it's still hanging over them. Also, if you haven't grabbed it yet, I want to encourage you to download the Turnover Fix Playbook. It's got 4 simple supervisor habits that reduce burnout and keep great staff from quietly quitting before they quit for real. You can grab it for free at iddleader.com/supervisor. And hopefully you'll want to share it with your leaders too. Ultimately, this is my encouragement. Use the Turnover Fix Playbook and all the strategies we talked about today to make burnout prevention an everyday leadership move, not just an HR fire drill. Well, until next time, difference maker, here's to you. Keep up the amazing work.